the traditional web is like the world's greatest copy machine. I think that's what Kevin Kelly called it, where it makes the copyability of something, the marginal cost of that is effectively zero, which is a wonderful thing. And that's something we really like, right? Like we're able to transmit information so quickly. At the same time, we know in economics, or we think we know anyway, that, you can have these things, when you drive the marginal cost of something to zero, it can be difficult to, the value is zero. Sometimes the skill of an artist that will take a long time to develop, or an artwork that takes a long time to produce, we think of that as being like a high average cost. And if you put that in the copy machine, right, the artist lacks value, or they're unable typically to recover the value. And so building this digital scarcity, which we, first of all get money out of, all like Bitcoin, but then we can start to think of these sort of like unique artworks and build value around that as well. It feels to me like a big step forward.
One of the cool, I think, inversions over the last like 10 to 15 years in how we denote value of ownership, like why I want to own something, has kind of shifted from scarcity of access to scarcity of ownership, in the sense that you can imagine like 20 years ago, the point of owning a piece of art is to put it in your home and only let people who are in your home see it. Whereas today, at least very explicitly, or not explicitly, but like very emphasized, you make a meme and you want everyone to see it. There's this desire for the thing to be shared, and it's the sharing, the seeing, that creates value. And so it's not, I want to own this so that nobody sees it. It's, I want to own this because everyone has seen it. And that shift, I think, it shows up in the creator economy, it shows up in advertising models, it shows up in like how we live our lives. I think that shift is really interesting, and it's obviously very tied into NFTs. It's like, cool, everybody has seen this thing, and now you can own it, or a fraction of it, or an edition of it, whatever it is. Like, you can have tangible ownership of this mimetic narrative.
Living in a first world country like the US, or other places around the world, we often forget what small amounts of money can do for a great number of individuals. Now they're able to sell their work as an NFT, which is a non-fungible token, in these marketplaces. And whether they sell for like $5, $10, $100, that's giving financial freedom to people who otherwise would not have access to buyers and sellers and this whole community that's a global community. And that's a really powerful thing to free individuals.
The NFTs are actually the perfect example of how the ownership economy works in a way. Basically, you can create your own content and you can monetize it, and you can sell it to another person that's gonna own your content later on. But since the transaction is agreed and there is no middleman, then you know exactly what you're selling, and the other person knows exactly what they're getting, and they also know that it's gonna be your production. They know that's gonna also live forever on the internet, and that it's tamper-proof. So this is a prime example of a P2P transaction where everything happens in a fair way, from the creation of the content to the purchase and ultimately a secondary sale of that content. I believe that curation and any other layer of economy that can add value to the already existing transactional marketplaces that there are out there will be 10 times better than Web 2, just because we really don't need to have any instances of middlemen, just people creating new things that serve to aggregate and to provide experience.
So a really interesting one from a social perspective is like curation markets and things like that. So I'm really passionate about some particular topic. I want to get in and start like curating and creating a very exciting social experience around marble collection that other people are going to start to get involved with. And because I'm getting in there early and I'm bootstrapping the community, I'm going to have a stronger, more ownership of that, curation medium. And as people come in and they start to realize, hey, this marble thing is super cool, they're going to bring in their friends and they're going to take a little bit of ownership of that thing. And by the time you've built up a really nicely bootstrapped, exciting community of people who just love marbles, the last person coming in is just getting a super dialed in, amazing experience. And all of the people that had got in beforehand put in a lot of effort to make that experience the way that it is. And so those people will get rewarded, but through ownership of some digital token or asset related to that community.
I'm biased. I believe deeply in the metaverse idea. I believe in, online gaming. And so, right now we're in kind of exploring all of the mechanisms and mechanics of, crypto economics out in the open. And it's kind of a mechanics playground. So if you love game design, if you love world design, this is kind of, one of the best opportunities in software you can get, where you can play with a lot of incentives and see what happens. And so kids are a great example of people who are jumping onto this new wave faster than anyone else, because they look at existing systems out in the world today and they're like, okay, the existing financial system, the existing games, they're all extremely boring and centralized. I want to be able to do things in my own way. I want to have an environment where I'm in control, where I can decide the rules and I can have fun with my friends. And so you're going to see a lot of experiences being made that, test out their economic theories, create safe spaces for people. And you're going to see, still, I think, a lot of large centralized communities where people come together and have a lot of fun. But you're also going to see more experimentation where I can create my own rules, have fun with my friends.
In experimenting in the NFT art space and making a bunch of wild stuff, there is a large group of artists that are teasing out what is valuable right out in the open. And they're doing it, across all these different NFT platforms. They're doing it across Twitter and other social media platforms by basically sharing a link to their NFT and having the NFTs displayed there, or sometimes I've seen full videos and stuff of these NFT experiences just in my Twitter feed. So there's a great way that the dweb can actually infiltrate these existing platforms and be used as a stack to get people to realize that there's something valuable here. There's something scarce. There's something that people are willing to part with their time, their energy, and maybe some actual economic kind of monetary value in order to create a movement, to create like a culture and to disseminate like a message.
I think Web 2 allowed these creators to publicize and publish. I think Web 3 will allow them to monetize, and it gives them a much more diverse range of ways to earn from their creative work. So it's not just subscriptions. It's not just sort of YouTube views or merchandising, which are all great options. But it kind of just opens up the rainbow, right? So you can start looking at what does it mean if I stake my digital library as collateral and take a loan on that. What does it mean if I, create a social token around myself and I say, if you believe in me and invest in me, you get a portion of my future earnings. Like, what does that even mean? But I think in terms of the creator space, I think there's just, so much to unlock there, and I'm so excited about it.